Junkin' Fool over here in Pourville 2 again. Okay, we're over here working on the Mercedes-Benz 220 diesel engine. And we cut these hoses out of the way here. Going to replace them with new ones. That's the plan. They're pretty brittle. Got the valve cover off. Looks really clean in there. I was going to take it down and power wash it. I've been keeping the stuff out of the valves and everything. I scraped a bunch of stuff away from it with a screwdriver. So what I think some of the issue is, I'm still kind of guesstimating. The reason I pulled this off is because of one of the common things so I'm seeing from the YouTube videos on these diesel engines, probably all of them, but mostly Mercedes, is valve adjustment. And as hard as that started before, and the one guy, he claimed most of the time they were too tight. And I think that's the case with this one. So when the valves are too tight, you're not going to get the proper compression. And these ones didn't have any play at all in them. I backed a couple of them off just checking it out. I'm not sure which you set them at. I know that exhaust and the intake are different clearances. And another thing they said is check your timing chain and make sure it isn't loose. Well, this one, luckily, it's got a tensioner in here. Right there's a tensioner. And the one guy I was watching, he said if you replace the chain, make sure you replace the tensioner. Whoops, this stuff is brittle. That just broke off. That's a vacuum thing that eventually runs up into the booster. And just bend that because I'm going to replace it. We can see what's going on. Yeah, this seems to be in real good shape. The whole top end looks good. The valves, lobes, cam lobes, I mean, they seem to be in good shape. So what I got to do is figure out what the clearances are on the valves for intake and exhaust. I pulled the power steering pump off. I'm keeping everything I pull off in case I need it. This is a vacuum pump here. I'm not sure if I need that or not. I'm probably going to just leave it on there and hook it to the power boosters, or the power booster on whatever this thing goes into. So I took the temperature gauge thing that goes in here, and it was pretty brutal, beat up. So I just cut it off. The only thing that would do is have water pouring out of there, which I don't have a radiator now, so when I start it ain't gonna run too long. And then I got this here for the oil pressure. I cut that. I looked at pulling that oil pressure gauge out of the car, but it looks like it's a big job. Found out this takes, not sure what it takes, it's some kind of oil. So what I got to do is, now they got special tools to get in here and turn these valves, but I think I can do it without them. I did see another guy using regular wrenches. They're right there. Got to break that bottom one loose. And I've turned them with a whatever size that is. This is pretty much all metric. So yeah, this is going to be a fun little project. It's actually pretty clean under there. I think the valve cover is leaking. So the next thing is, once I get them valves set right, I want to restart it. I'll block it up and start it right here on the ground. I got to put something in there either to stop it or put an oil pressure gauge. I think I got an oil pressure gauge. If I can find it, I'll just hook oil pressure to it. This well, I'm just going to snug that up. I don't even really need that in there. This thing had a lot of rust in it. That's for antifreeze to go through the engine to help cool it, I guess. I got the hose off, which I cleaned a little bit of rust out of there. I'm going to flush this all out when I get it. That didn't get a lot of rust in it. When I get it where it runs, before I put it in anything, I'll power wash it and just make sure it's going to run before I put a bunch of money into it. Just going to kind of clean it up and try to make it dependable. That wasn't getting fuel out of that one. I just put this back together and I took these off. They're not even tight yet. So I'm getting, this is actually pumping fuel through it. It goes in this one and comes out that one. So I think that's working. You can get a rebuild kit for these. There's only a few like seals and like little piston, plastic type pistons in there. So these right here, there's two lines right here. Them run to the cooler, which just is oil. I think I've already broke these loose. I think I'm going to pull these off and just plug them for right now, because you're going to have your engine oil. That's the oil filter right below it. So I don't know, I might have to read up if I really need that cooler. I don't think I do, but it was on there for a reason, so I probably will put it back on there. Then I want to get in here and look at the clutch some more. Apparently that's a lifting bracket. I couldn't really find nothing to lift. It's aluminum, so, but I don't know that I trust it. So I think when I lift it again, I'm just going to use these regular bolts that go into the block. Maybe put a chain on both sides of them. Then I got a pretty good chain in the front. And then when I get ready to install it, maybe I'll just find something real thin where I can put long bolts, and then when I get ready to install it, leave bolts in there on the transmission, and then have a few of them started, and then I can just pull them out when I get it set in whatever we're going to set it in. So I'm hoping I don't have to pull this injection pump out. If I do, I do. It's actually, there's a couple of real good videos in there on how to do the injection timing on this, but there's a spot right there you're supposed to, I think that's the spot, maybe it's a different one. There's a spot where there's a bolt in it, and you're supposed to pull that bolt out when you get this off, and it shows you how to set the front of the gear, line everything up, a couple little alignment marks. You get them lined up, you pull this bolt out. It's actually this bolt here, don't pull that one out. That bolt there, you pull that out and you replace it with a longer bolt, and that holds the shaft or anything from turning. And you also got to line it up. I got to clean this off, but over here on the harmonic balancer, I got to get a wire wheel or something, turn the engine over, and I can't remember what it is now. I have to relook, but I think it's 20 degrees or 25 degrees for top dead center, or 10 degrees, whatever it is. I got to clean this up, clean the harmonic balancer up and find the mark. So you line that up. Piece of cake, famous last words. So this is going to be a cool little project. I actually looked at a vehicle to put it in. I'm kind of on the fence about it. It's a really nice looking Ford Ranger with a little back seat. Body is really solid. The yard's got it over there. I don't know what they'd want for it. The motor's supposed to be blowed up in it, but actually it's in such good shape. Got a little four-cylinder with a 8 spark plug deals. They're really good on gas. It's got a 6-speed transmission. I almost think it's too good to put this in, because that truck would be a pretty nice truck just to drive. It's got a wooden deck on there, but I'd want to get rid of that. I'd resell that and put a regular 6-foot bed or whatever they had on them. But anyway, we'll have to think on that. I hate to tear that one apart. I don't know what they'd want for it. It does got a good body. The front seats are missing. Really solid though. It's got air conditioner, which I suppose the guy could fabricate the air on there. There is an extra belt on that pulley. Well, there you go. Here we are over here in Porterville 2, working on this beautiful day today. Good day to be working outside. Go find a project. Thanks for stopping. Goodbye.